Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest, most mind-bending ideas in all of tech, artificial general intelligence. AGI. We're talking about the incredible quest to build a machine that can actually think for itself. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get super clear on what AGI even is. Then, we'll trace the long and winding road researchers have been on for decades. We'll peek at the different blueprints for how to actually build one, look at a really cool way our own brains are inspiring the tech, and finally, we'll face the massive challenges that are still in the way.
All right, let's dive right in. Because to really get what AGI is, you first have to understand how it's completely different from the AI that you and I use every single day. So, you've probably heard the term AGI getting thrown around a lot, right? Especially with these incredibly powerful new tools popping up. But what does it really mean for an AI to be general? What's the big deal? Okay, so here's the core idea. AGI is, for now, a hypothetical type of AI that's not a one-trick pony. It's a true generalist. Think about it like this. It wouldn't just be amazing at playing chess. It would be designed to learn, to adapt, and to figure out brand new problems in pretty much any area, just like a person can. And this slide really nails the difference. The AI we have today, that's all narrow AI. It can be an absolute genius at its one specific job, like a program that can beat any human at chess. But that program can't then decide to write a symphony. An AGI, on the other hand, could take something it learned from playing a game and apply that logic to a totally unrelated field. That's the game changer. And you don't have to take my word for it. The big labs like OpenAI are defining AGI in really practical, almost stark terms. When they say the goal is to outperform humans at most economically valuable work, that tells you something. The true test of AGI might not be some philosophical debate. It might be when it can do most of the jobs that drive our economy. This dream of AGI, it isn't some newfangled idea that just popped up. Nope. It's actually the latest chapter in a quest that's been going on for more than 70 years. And let me tell you, it's had its share of triumphs and, well, a lot of dead ends. If you look back, you can really see two main philosophies at play. The early pioneers, they tried to build intelligence using pure logic and hard-coded rules. That's symbolic AI. But that approach kind of hit a ceiling. So a new idea, inspired by the brain itself, took over. That was connectionism. The idea that systems should learn from huge amounts of data. And that's the path that led us directly to the incredible language models we have right now. Okay, so let's say you want to build an AGI starting tomorrow. How would you even do it? Well, it's not like there's one instruction manual for this thing. There are actually several different schools of thought, each with its own master plan. Researchers are basically looking at this menu of options, and man, each one has some serious pros and cons. You could go with pure logic, but those systems are fragile. They break when they see something unexpected. You could use these giant neural networks that learn from data, but they're often a black box where we can't fully see how they're making decisions. And some people argue a real mind needs a body to actually understand the world. It's a huge puzzle. Which path or which mix of paths will finally get us there? And that's why the consensus is starting to form around one key idea. No single approach is going to be enough. Real intelligence is just too messy, too complex. So the field is moving towards hybrid models. Just imagine, if you could combine the pure learning ability of a neural network with the clean, explainable reasoning of a logic-based system, you might just get the best of both worlds. A mind that can learn like a human, but think with the speed and precision of a machine. Now, to pull this out of the clouds of theory, let's look at a really fascinating example where scientists are literally copying a piece of hardware from our own brains to build better AI. This is seriously cool. Okay, so think about how you remember a specific event, like where you parked your car. That's your hippocampus at work. Researchers are now building artificial versions of that, using these super efficient, spiking neural networks that fire more like actual neurons. And the results? They can give a robot a real sense of memory and place, allowing it to learn a new route once and then remember it perfectly, just like we do. So we know what AGI is, and we have some clues about how to build it.
We're making progress, right? So what's the holdup? What is stopping us from having true AGI right here, right now? Well, that's the billion-dollar question.
Make no mistake, the race is on. A survey just a couple years ago found over 70 active AGI projects all over the world. Labs like OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic, they've all said this is their main goal. But all that money and brainpower doesn't change the fact that the challenges ahead are, well, they're monumental.
The technical roadblocks alone are just immense. Maybe the biggest one of all is common sense, that gut-level understanding of how the world works that we all have. Experts have called it fiendishly difficult to replicate in a machine. Then there's the fact that AIs need to learn from thousands of examples, while a toddler can learn from just one. And that's before we even get to true emotional intelligence.
And honestly, if the technical hurdles weren't enough, there's an even bigger one looming: safety. How in the world do we make sure that a system smarter than us is safe and shares our values? This isn't a sci-fi movie plot anymore. For the labs on the front lines, this alignment problem is one of the most immediate and pressing challenges they face today.
And this brings it all home, raising huge questions for every single one of us. If AGI can actually achieve that goal of doing most of the work humans get paid for, what happens to our jobs? What happens to our entire society? This is a future so different that it's forcing serious people to talk about radical ideas, like universal basic income.
In the end, this whole quest for AGI forces us to look in the mirror and ask a really fundamental question about what we want our future to be. As we get closer and closer to creating a true digital mind, we have to decide: are we building a partner, a tool, or are we building our own replacement? That's a question we're all going to have to answer together.